Mostly clear skies, a low near mostly sunny and a high of 82. Saturday, plenty of blue skies and sunshine, a high of 82. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Right now,
Michael Devine at
87.
AM 1400
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
with 60 rounds of freedom.
That's right. We have 60 rounds of freedom at all times. This is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice for Dodge. And you can certainly join us here by going to StreamYard. You can go to my Facebook page, AM 1400, KVFD, Alpha Media website, Alpha Media for Dodge website, even my personal Facebook page. There we are. And by we, I'm talking Dr. Terry Menke and I. How are you, Doctor? Oh, I should turn your microphone on. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, I was going to say.
You're telling me it's a wonderful.
Doing today, stay inside, heat advisory, 93 degrees, I think, outside. A little muggy. Of course, it's state fair time, it's time for it to get lousy again.
No, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah, our zucchini plants picking, we're picking 1 or 2 zucchinis a day out there. It's just growing.
Growing.
Yep. They go from 4 inches to a foot long virtually overnight. Amazing.
So, yeah,
Obviously, it's my farming skills.
I'd say it was.
I make Gregor look terrible. I've got like 6 tomatoes, got a cucumber going.
Before I got sick, didn't Greg come in before you?
No, he came in after me.
He did.
Yeah,
Okay.
he came in. We always remember we stand out in the hallway and talk, and then you get mad about.
It'd be very infuriating.
Yeah.
Well, Greg chats up everybody.
Yeah,
he's
a friendly guy.
He is a friendly guy and a good guy.
Yeah. He'd make a good politician.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he was president of the Iowa Pork Producers. And
Yeah.
Probably knows every pork producer in the state.
Probably
in the area, in the region. Well, I'm talking about Minnesota, Nebraska.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy gets around. You say things like it's a beautiful day, but your attitude tells me you really think the day sucks.
Yeah, I do think it sucks. Actually, I don't enjoy this at all.
All right.
I can't handle extreme heat and extreme cold like I used to.
Years ago when I sold cars, there were 2 types of weather where people did not come in to buy cars, and that was extreme heat and extreme cold. And I was always grateful, even though I made no money during those days.
Well, my windshield fogs up. On the inside, you get that film from the upholstery. I don't know if it's the the toxic gases that they're trying to subdue us with or what, but my window films up, and it's hard for me to clean my window and see clearly. And then in the morning, when the sun hits it, I can't tell where I'm going half the time. So it's frustrating.
Dr. Terry Menke is our guest. We are broadcasting live from the Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters studio. Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters. I have it here somewhere. There it is. 612 South 32nd Street here in Fort Dodge. You may contact them by calling 576-6481. So you can run for re-election or not?
Well, I've got one more meeting scheduled.
Oh, you big tease. You just love this, don't you?
It's I'm inclined to think that, there's a possibility that I'm going to run again, but as well as I do that there's some other factors involved that may have issues with me rerunning. So I'm not going to talk about them, but
I understand that, but we can't check out of life.
Yeah, I know it, but I've got until the 26th, also.
So you just want to keep us dangling until the 26th?
Like I said, the 18th will be out, and the 19th, whatever that day that is.
Oh, you can't announce it on this show. You got to make sure you give it to the messenger first.
Well, I will be in, I'll go see Dawn Siebken. She'll, and I don't know who follows up from there, but I'll know by the end of next week. I'll know.
You're going to go see Dawn?
Well, that's where you turn your papers in.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're going to go see Dawn?
Yeah, maybe in a
So
week
is
or
this
so.
a hint that you're going to turn papers in, or why?
Let's just put it this way.
Why are you being so difficult about this? You know what you're going to do.
You know why I'm being difficult. I just,
because you're strange.
That too. No, pretty good indications that I am going to run again for 2 more years, but I've got all the paperwork done. It's all signed, sealed, and delivered. I just haven't turned it in yet.
How could you leave Lydia and Allstott?
Quite easily.
I had Jeff Halder in here yesterday. He's not running.
Yeah, I know.
He's had enough fun.
Yeah, Jeff, he indicated earlier this year that he was not going to run again, and I haven't heard from Dave, but I'm sure Dave's going to defer to his wife. He uses that excuse every 2 years. He's also going to wait until the rec center's done, which means he's going to be there for.
He's going to be there for years.
Yeah.
I think I hit him with that question the other day. I had lunch with Dave. I think it's the first time we ever had lunch together. But yeah, I was trying to pry it out of him.
Yeah.
That's what he told me.
Yeah, we actually have a meeting scheduled.
So I guess we should call Dave's wife.
Yeah, we should call his wife. But anyway, we had a meeting scheduled for tomorrow to talk about some updates on the Floyd Rosedale project. And of course, Dave agreed to show up for the meeting. And then amazingly, about an hour later, he's going to be down at the Field of Dreams tomorrow. So he is kind of,
He's going to the Field of
I don't
Dreams.
know. I tried to get tickets and I couldn't, I got turned down on the lottery, even though I'm not a big baseball guy. I thought that
How
would
does
be
that guy get Field of Dreams?
well, he is the world record holding strikeout king of Iowa State baseball. So,
yeah, but Iowa State hasn't had a baseball team at all in years.
Therefore, he retains his title. I mean,
Yes, he does.
He's got the license plate to prove it.
Little chance that the baseball team is coming back.
Yeah. So anyway, he's going to be there, and he'll be one of the 8,000 lucky. And again, it'll be interesting to see how he did obtain that ticket. I'm sure it's some connection through somebody he knew that was able to get.
Oh,
it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
He is Mr. Baseball.
Well, he's got a lot of brothers.
Yeah, he's got a lot of connections in the
lot of
area.
connections,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's cool. I mean, I'm sure you've been to the Field of Dreams. It's a iconic Iowa destination. We were down there with the kids years ago, and it was cool.
I drove by it once. I was
Well,
going
you ought
over.
to stop. I
Oh,
mean,
why? It's a ball field.
yeah, but it's got the history of the movie.
I
Kevin
enjoyed the
Costner.
movie. I read the book
Yeah,
way before there was a movie, and love the movie.
Yeah.
But it's a movie. It's
Yeah.
a book, and it does have to deal. It deals with the sentimental, almost mystical attachment that people like me have to baseball, and Dave Flattery too.
Yeah.
But it's a nice farmhouse with a nice ball field surrounded by corn.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
But wouldn't it be cool to have something like that in Fort Dodge? We met with the lady.
Yeah, let's not be talking about that place anyway. They keep trying to get the girls' state softball tournament away from us.
Well, we talked to the was she Convention and Visitor Bureau. She was compatible to Carrie Kuiper over at RCVB.
Yeah.
She came and we did a little Zoom conference with her to talk a little bit about
The lady at Dyersville, you're talking
yeah,
about?
we could market, different marketing techniques and things because she's been in the business a long time, and she was just giving us some advice on what to do. And I kind of brought up the fact that she kind of had a gem in her backyard that, it was fairly easy to promote something that was world famous, the Field of Dreams.
Off it.
It's a very successful venture. They draw thousands, hundreds of thousands of people go there. And it's good for the community. It's good for the, the local economy. It's good for the people that have the ground. So I wish we had something like that here.
Well,
Don't
we'll
you?
make it, there's been movies made in Iowa before.
I know. Yeah.
There was a movie out a few years ago called Cedar Rapids.
Yeah.
I don't think they shot it in Iowa, but it was called Cedar Rapids. It was kind of a horror movie, and I don't really like horror movies that well, but I like that one.
Yeah.
And
What was the tornado one that was filmed here?
Twister. Yeah, that
Twister,
was
yeah.
over in Calhoun County, as
Yeah.
a matter of fact.
Yeah, that was a
Do you see people going over to Calhoun County to see where the corn was that was ripped up, that the movie studio?
the great mentor to the Fort Dodge area, Jay Sanchez, that's Nevin Conrad's good buddy.
Nevin and Jay hang out?
Oh, they're tight. They're tight.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't
very,
think
very
that Jay
tight.
was the
Exchange-
Conrad type.
Oh, yeah. Exchange Christmas cards. I'm sure they're probably Facebooking each other all the time. But anyway,
That's weird.
Jay proposed, bringing the movie industry into Fort Dodge as part of our redevelopment, attraction, economic development, but that has not gone anywhere. But, we have the world famous Sam Arkoff, who made all the beach blanket movies.
Oh, God, I love that.
I think Roger Natty's got a bunch of his stuff, old posters and whatever. And I still think that would be a great way to celebrate the history of Sam Markoff in our community, is to have a Sam Markoff Film Festival. Do like a zombie walk down Central Avenue, which, is basically every Friday and Saturday night anyway. That was a jab. But anyway, it would be cool, to have something like that, and maybe make it an annual event, show a couple of his movies, have some promotional things tied into it, and maybe that would be our Field of Dreams. Get Sam Markoff back into the main flow of the community.
Well, I think that's a Dyersville thing over there. I think they're keeping that going for their own benefit. I don't.
Well, obviously.
I don't. God, are you kidding me? Thousands of people still go there. That movie came out in 1987.
Yep. And I've
Kevin Costner made another movie in the early 90s. This is late 80s. The one where he was at one with the Native Americans.
Well, that was in South Dakota.
Yeah, that was in South Dakota.
The Buffalo. What was the name of that?
What was the name of that?
I don't remember. It'll come to me. We're
It'll
both
come
the
to-
same age.
Tell us somebody call 955-1400 and tell us what the movie set in South Dakota where Kevin Costner was running around thinking he was an Indian. And yeah, right. He's,
Yeah. Kevin Costner.
oh, here we go.
There we go. We got the answer.
We got the
Somebody
answer,
younger
Kevin.
than us.
He said- what was the name of the movie?
Dances with Wolves.
Dances
All right,
with Wolves.
Dance with
Thank
Wolves.
you. Thank you, sir.
Right.
That's great. Dances with Wolves. That's right. He danced with wolves.
Yeah.
Didn't
Kevin Costner bought a bunch of property in Deadwood. Actually, has a very nice casino restaurant in downtown Deadwood.
I think he sold it though.
Yeah, he sold it because he tried to get the pot limit or the gambling limit is restricted, I think, to $5 in South Dakota, and he tried to get it bumped to $100 a hand. And he was going to build a railroad from Denver to Deadwood, and he had all kinds of plans. I mean, they really were looking forward to having him do a lot of development out there, and then he lost interest because the legislature decided they didn't want to be bullied by Hollywood. So
That's
didn't-
kind of stupid on the legislators.
well, looking back-
Bullied by Hollywood. I am about to spend $1 million on something that probably won't work anyway. Can you get on board with this raising the gambling limit thing? No, we don't want to be bullied by Hollywood.
Yeah, it was a good restaurant, though. It was interesting development. I don't know if he still owns the casino out there, but I know that it seemed like a lot of his plans disappeared. So
Kevin Costner kind of disappointed me. Julie and I went over to, it was River Days at the time, but they have a place down around some old breweries. Dubuque was known as a beer making place, very German town. And they had bands and stuff that came. It was a nice festival down there, the River Festival every year. Well, Kevin Costner and his band, Great West, came. Well, Kevin Costner really can't sing that well. And his songs are all his own composition, and they're gibberish. And every now and then he'd stop the band and everything else and start getting into some artist hippie California babble that I didn't understand at all. And he just didn't come off as a rough and tough character that he was in some of his movies. Not even slightly.
I'm
He
sorry.
came off as some theater guy, who questionable. Well, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Well, you know that the Beach Boys are going to be, I believe, at the State Fair this year, and John Stamos is going to perform with them. Apparently, he's performed with them before. So another
John Stamos.
another Hollywood pretty boy stepping up on stage. So that's just
Well, the girl's got to have something. What are they supposed to
Yeah.
look at? You and me?
well, he's a good-looking guy,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what can I say? Yeah, but Lieutenant Dan's got his band too.
Lieutenant Dan Band.
Yeah, he's pretty good, I guess. Well, a lot of these Hollywood people are very talented.
Yeah. And Costner looks good on screen.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
flies helicopters.
I didn't know that.
Yep, he's got a place. I believe it's out in Montana, and he flies back and forth. Occasionally, he'll run out of fuel in the middle of somewhere and have to drop down, and then everybody, gets pictures and autographs. He's very approachable, I guess, but he does fly helicopters instead of airplanes.
Well, that's all right. I don't have.
Yeah.
I don't have any preference.
You know what the glide ratio is on a helicopter?
No.
Zero.
Yeah. So when
Yeah.
you're coming down, you're coming down.
You're coming down.
You're coming down.
Yeah.
I'm getting a private pilot's license.
Are you really?
Yeah.
That's not good.
Thought I'd smuggle several tons of marijuana into your house. there and
Perfect.
Put them in
Yeah.
the garage. and
Sure. Yeah. Good luck with that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So anyway, Field of Dreams is tomorrow. State Fair starts tomorrow. Dragon Boats is here this weekend.
By the way, I will. Greg Horace coming in after Terry
I know.
here for about 20 minutes. I'll be going down to the State Fair again this year. Next week, I think I'm going Wednesday and Thursday, or is it Thursday and Friday? Wednesday and Thursday, yeah. And I'll be down at the pork tent on behalf of the Webster County pork producers. So it's always a lot of fun.
Is it air conditioned?
No.
Oh. Yeah. Drink lots of fluids.
I will.
Okay. Stay out of the sun.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. But anyway, Dragon Boats this weekend. If you get a chance to volunteer, there's plenty of opportunities. They need all kinds of help out there. So get a hold of Barb or Linda Donner, somebody that's on their Facebook page. I'd be very, very happy to get you out there and put you to work. It's going to be fun. They're going to have a band out there Friday. I'm not sure what the band is. Somebody, I'm sure it'll be great. But okay, you want to talk about Fort Dodge a little bit? Since
I'm
we're-
ready.
okay.
I mean, I don't know why we talked about Kevin Costner at all. But
Well, because we got deviated a little bit, like normal. That's the name of our game.
All right,
Anyway.
whip it on me, big fella.
Well, a couple of things. We do have a lot of road projects going on. We will continue to do road work. Kenyon Road's going to be closed between 8th and 12th, starting on the 30th for 4 weeks. It's probably be one way, so look out for the traffic there and the road construction. They're doing some patching and repair work on there. Hawkeye Avenue between Amigos and Dock Stop up on top of the hill is going to be closed for a week for mill and overlay, which that road really needs it. And that's supposedly maybe next week they're going to start doing that. South 22nd, 15th Avenue South, the intersection will be closed in September. They're doing a lot of storm sewer work down there, a new road also. And the new daycare center, they're working on the sewer up there. So you'll see some construction on 32nd Street north of the Aquatic Center. So, just be aware of all those cones. Part of the reason we say that is because on 22nd Street, North 22nd Street, where they're doing some patchwork up there, somebody actually got out of their minivan the other night, moved the barricades, and
Really?
drove through on the fresh concrete.
We like it.
Yeah, no, they didn't like that very much. Our public works guys, they are out there in the sun, they're out there working, they're doing a good job. They're doing a lot of the repair work, the concrete work around town. Saves us a lot of money. They get it done and they get it done quickly. But when they have to go back and do it again, you worked concrete, didn't you? It's a thankless job. I mean,
Thankless, very difficult. I made twice as much then as I do now, but I can't do that sort of work anymore.
That's what they call a lifestyle choice.
Lifestyle choice.
You're
I work mainly in asphalt.
Yeah, well, that's even.
If you want to talk about hot, have a day like this
Yeah.
and pour asphalt.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I was in the truck most of the time. The truck was air conditioned.
Yeah.
But wow, was it hot
Yeah.
out there?
I mean, not only do they have big stuff that can hurt you severely if you get in their way, but there are also guys that are out there doing a lot of work. They're pretty buff. Most of these guys are capable of
Who was
hauling.
pretty buff.
The guys that work out there hauling concrete and doing that asphalt work, they're in good shape. They're in a lot better shape than you and I are. And if you get in their
We're old.
Yeah, that's true. You don't see too many people out there pouring concrete that are old. But anyway, I just be careful and respect them, and don't move barricades.
Oh, is that where you were going?
Yeah, don't
yeah,
drive.
that's a good thing.
Don't drive around the construction tape, and don't. When you see an orange cone, respect it. Slow down, get out of the way. Just watch what you're doing out there. We'd like to blame it on out of towners, but sometimes it's not. It's just people that are in a hurry, I guess. But even though it may look like it's done, it's not necessarily dry. So stay off of it. So.
All due respect to my asphalt and concrete guys, some of them do actually have beer guts,
Oh, yeah.
because they've been known to have a few beers after a long, hot day.
Well, can you blame them? I mean,
No, I used to have several.
They're dehydrated.
Oh, you know it, man.
Yeah. So anyway, that's upcoming road construction things. We had a little discussion about road construction. If you want to take the call,
I do want to take the call. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. You're on the air at AM 1400.
Hello, my question is, why is Unity keep going? Selling these buildings.
So say that again, sir. You're breaking up.
Center and the other one by the hospital, they're for sale.
What buildings now? You're breaking up.
Okay, the Highland Park Center,
Oh, okay.
and then where ladies go by the hospital to get their mammograms and stuff.
Yeah.
They're for sale.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll let Dr. Menke answer the question. Whoa.
yeah, Radio Shack
Hi.
technology.
That's Radio Shack stuff, man.
Yeah,
all
it's
the
good
way.
stuff. Good
It
stuff.
is good stuff.
Squelch. Yeah, I know. I live right by that women's center, and I know it is for sale. I think that they're consolidating some of their clinics together. I don't know if it's a staffing problem, but I know the direction of some of those facilities are changing. Highland Park, actually, we've been looking at that for other development purposes. It may go up for sale. I think there's
The Highland Park Clinic you're talking about?
Yeah, the Highland Park School. That's now it's was it a rehab center for a while, but I think they're moving a lot of that stuff over to the hospital itself now. So
Highland Park School in the south side of town. It
yeah,
used to be
22nd and 25th. What is it? 25th, I think.
it's over there.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm not privy to why they did it. I'm sure it's economics. I think it's probably a little bit of a downsizing of some of the departments, but as far as I know, they're not laying any staff off. But again, I'm not on the board out there at the hospital, but Nevin Conrad is. if you could ever get Nevin in, maybe you could ask him that question, because I don't know, but I do know that they're downsizing. I knew Highland Park about 6 months ago. They informed us that they were going to downsize that. So I don't know the exact reason, but I'm assuming it's because of probably staffing and downsizing of the programs.
Yeah.
So
So are we going to have this on the front page of the paper today? There was a conversation about what was it?
yeah,
We were going to easy for me to say, isn't
yeah, you didn't bring the paper.
it? Yes, I did. Here,
No,
maybe,
yesterday's.
maybe this is it over.
Maybe it's over there. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I
All right,
recognize it
here
now.
it is. Here it is. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
The truck stop.
Trucks.
Yeah, that's a county thing. The city doesn't have much to do with that.
The travel center, they call them now.
Yep, the Stump project out there. I've been in some conversations that this was brought up. I know that it's a pretty ambitious plan by the Stump family. I don't know if it's all of them or just the one, but every time you drive up and down that stretch of road, there isn't much between here and, well, there, you head east, there isn't much until you get to Webster City, and you head west, and then there isn't much until you get out to Highway 4. But these things have been popping up, and they've been fairly popular. So I think, something's going to happen out there. It's kind of in the hands of the supervisors now, is because the county zoning board decided that they did not want to allow it. But I think the neighbors have some concern about the traffic, access to the road, lighting, noise, things like that. But again, I think it's going to happen at some point. If it doesn't happen there, it will happen at another location fairly close to that, because I think it's needed. I think there's a lot of truck traffic out there, a lot of travelers. We'd like to get them into Fort Dodge and have them spend money in town, but maybe this would be a good place for them to kind of learn more about Fort Dodge.
Yeah.
They're going to try to connect to the trail. So it might be an opportunity for people to get out and run their dog around and run the kids. And I don't know if you can stop progress like that. You got a lot of traffic. Truck stops are very popular. I mean, truck drivers need their rest.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they need their hot dogs.
I remember.
They need their pop. They need their bathrooms. So
Yes, we do. And a place to sleep at night. Well, that's in the truck. But,
yeah. But again, that's a multi-million-dollar project. It's in the county hands. We're not, the city is not involved in that. Obviously with our annexation plans, looking around within a couple miles.
What are you going to annex?
Well, within a couple miles of Sioux Falls, here I am again. A couple miles all the way around Fort Dodge, the city more or less has a certain amount of input in any kind of businesses, because of annexation can occur in those areas relatively easily with permission of the landowners and whatever. And that particular area, I know when they were looking at the casino down in that area, there was some active discussions about potentially running some water and sewer down there. And if we do that, then obviously we would like to have the tax base to help pay for it. So I'm sure that if development happens down there, the city will be looking at future annexation to the south of town.
A couple of years ago, we talked about the Iowa State Fair a little earlier, and it starts when? Thursday? Tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
yeah. I went 2 years ago, and Joe Biden was down there.
Yeah.
He was at the whatever it is, the soapbox is what they call it. And Joe Biden said, we're going to choose truth over facts. Did you hear what I just said? We're going to, that's an older man at the podium. We're going to choose truth.
He was
We're going to choose truth over facts. No, he wasn't. He was completely lost in his head somewhere.
I was down there.
Actually, I understood.
I was down there, and Trump was circling in his helicopter.
Trump was?
Yeah,
I love that.
There was a large crowd coming out of one of the buildings down there, and I just stood there, and everybody that I was with, we were down there for the Sertoma speech and hearing booth that they had in the Varied Industry Building. And I was caught in a large crowd. Suddenly I was just surrounded by people that I, weren't there before. And the people I was with were, 30 feet away from me. And I looked up, and here came Hillary walking out.
Hillary.
Hillary came walking out, and she stopped about 3 feet away from me. And I got several pictures of her. And she never acknowledged me, obviously, because I wasn't.
Well, obviously she has no taste.
Yeah, she wasn't. I wasn't wearing that right hat or something, but it was kind of fun because now I've got pictures of Hillary. And so every time one of my friends says anything, I just send them a picture of Hillary, and that just, changes the direction of the conversation pretty quick. So
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I Hillary Clinton and Marco Rubio would not appear on the program. I tried to get him to come. but they wouldn't do it. But Trump did.
Yeah.
Trump did, and he started the conversation. Michael, it's a great pleasure to be on your show. You have a beautiful show. Beautiful show. I listen all the time.
Yeah, he's a charmer.
Isn't he? You know,
Yeah,
he probably sits out in Washington D.C. wherever he is now.
I
Florida,
saw
New
him.
York.
Pam and I went out when he was here in town.
Oh, yeah.
I went out we went out and had to go through a metal detector, and
Sure.
Kelly Hyman was still active duty on the state police, and
Desk. I'm Dwayne Murley.
Grief is a natural part of life. As hard as it is, we must find ways through it and not around it. We at Gundersons help guide families through one of life's most difficult times, the death of a loved one. We are here to listen, hear your stories, and help create healing ceremonies, the first step in acknowledging and honoring your grief. We provide options, support, and answer questions when you need us most. The journey of grief is not one to walk alone. Gundersons is here for you.
Divine Intervention is online at yourfortdodge.com, on Twitter at jmike1400.
That's right. That's where we're at. Please feel free to call 955-1400. Both my regular callers have already called. So I don't know. Yeah, check out my Facebook page. That's at Michael Diviner, or the Facebook page AM 1400 KVFD, or the Alpha Media Fort Dodge website. And you'll see not only my increasingly elderly face, but Terry Minke as well, who's looking kind of elderly here. Let's call this up and see what we can find. I think Minke might be looking a little. Yeah, there he is. There he is. He's looking a little elderly himself.
Yeah, well, that's not good.
Yeah, well, what can you say?
Yeah, well, I'm actually younger than you, but not by much.
Not much. I want to ask you a question. I asked
Fire
this.
away.
I've tried to ask this of all these city officials that I can have on the air. But
All
do
two
you?
of them.
All two of them, yeah. Well, Nevin comes around every now and then. Conrad and Halter yesterday. Dave Flattery, no problem. I can, Dave just doesn't want to be on regularly. The two that won't come, well, there's three, I guess. Lydia doesn't like to come. And
Wasn't she on yesterday too?
well, she was, yeah, but
That's the
she's
Growth Alliance.
She's the communication director of the Growth
Right.
Alliance. So she came over with Mandy Krause Kelly, who was she's with the come on, the YWCA over here. So that was, so Lydia's going to bring people like that over, but she's not actually going to be on the air to talk about being a city council person.
No.
And Andy won't do it anymore because I don't know, somebody, I think there was a campaign there for a while by some people to keep city officials off my show. So nobody thought I was relevant. See, if I don't have city council people on, I'm not relevant.
Most people that talk to me aren't city related. They're just people on the street to say, why do you do that?
Oh, no, they don't. No, they don't.
Yeah. So what's your question?
Do you really think that we're going to get that Warden Plaza project done?
Well, I can honestly tell you that we do have a developer, I think, is interested in the project. But if you've listened to me over the last 10 years, I've probably said that probably 3 or 4 times in the past. So I would like to think, I think it is a viable project. And the reason I say that is because Dubuque and Sioux City and Des Moines have all taken old buildings downtown,
They sure have.
old hotels, and they've all converted them. Most of them have been developers from out of state that have done this before, and have come in and basically cleaned up blighted property and rejuvenated it. Will that happen in Fort Dodge? I don't know. I hope it does. I think there's a chance. I would say probably 20% chance. With the current developers, no. KDG is not going to do anything. They haven't done anything. But again, if we can get out of the litigation with KDG, whatever that's going to happen, I don't know. We haven't been really brought up to date on that in the last few months. But if the litigation is resolved in a timely fashion, I think we can probably find another developer, hopefully somebody that's,
Worth a damn?
Yeah, that would be my impression. I think that there's an excellent chance that this can be done. I've toured that building. I've been up and down those steps. It is in bad shape. I mean, it's structurally sound in most places. There's some roof problems. There's some there's some mold in the building. There's a lot of debris in the building. It was pretty well trashed during what do they call that, urban mining, when they went in and took all the copper pipes out and everything. It's going to take a lot of cleanup. But the good thing, though, is that we've got people out there that have done it before. And if they can come in with the crews, the COVID obviously has affected construction business quite a bit. So reconstruction at this point would probably be 10 to 15% higher than what it was 2 or 3 years ago. But I guess the fortunate thing is we don't need a lot of 2x4s. We need a lot of concrete work, and we need a lot of cleanup. So I would say that if I was a betting man, is it going to be done before I die? No. But I think it's too nice of a facility, and there's too much history there, and it's a solid building.
Well, that's what I hear, but it's starting more and more to sound like a pipe dream.
Yeah.
And I mean, Denny Plotz and others looked at what was happening in Des Moines some years ago, where they took a lot of their downtown older buildings, some of them were warehouses, and they converted them to condos for yuppies in downtown Des Moines. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine I was in high school with was a professional man in St. Louis, and they did the same thing with one of the old brewery buildings. But that was kind of a fad that came and went, frankly.
Yeah.
I think the downtown development and that sort of living where people want to live in multiple unit buildings is kind of fading out again.
Right.
And I will say that Dubuque had an old brewery district. Star Brewery was a beer that was brewed in Dubuque with some others. And boy, they did a terrific job on it. They even had they had great looking apartments. I've been in some, and bars and restaurants. And it was a great thing for about a year and kind of went away.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, we had a lot of efforts. I mean, Joe Pete owned it for a while and did some work up there. But when it went to Section 8 housing, that's kind of the downfall.
that was the end of that, wasn't it?
That was the end of it.
And that was clear back in the 80s.
Yeah. And that's when it started to deteriorate. I mean, we used to have a pretty viable community that lived down there. And I mean, some undesirables, but there were a lot of nice apartments in there. I mean, I remember Bob Wood telling me that he lived down there for a while on a 2-level, and I've been in his apartment. It's a cool thing. It's got an upstairs balcony, and it's really neat.
Bill Hood did that?
No, Bob Wood.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Bob Wood.
And if Bill Hood's listening, he knows what I'm talking about.
No, but again, I think there's a lot of potential there. If I had $30-40 million in my back pocket, I'd probably look at it as a viable.
Oh, come on, you got at least that much.
Especially with the new opportunity zone that went into effect a few years ago. There's actually, if you sell your farm and you got all that money sitting there, this is an opportunity for you to save some tax money because you don't have to pay investment tax credits on your money when you reinvest it in an opportunity.
Yeah,
zone.
I'd sell farm ground and put it in the ward.
Well,
I would
say we're getting ready to move into Friendship Haven or someplace. We're getting ready to retire, or let's just say a big solar farm comes in and says, "Hey, we want to buy your farm," and all of a sudden they're handing you a few $1 million for the family homestead.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting there with a few $1 million that you're going to lose 15 to 20% of that because of taxes. So this is an opportunity for you to invest in downtown. If we could find 3 or 4 people that were in that situation that had a lot of money and a vision, I think it would be a great project. But is it going to be done overnight? Obviously not. Just like the rec center, just like the mall, just like the Northwest River District, just like every other project in town. I mean, it takes time. There's a lot of planning involved. The good thing, is Vicky and the group over there, Business Affairs, have done all the background work, all the tax credits and workforce tax credits, historical tax credits. All those things have been done. All that paperwork is there. There's still available for whoever it is that wants to take it over. So, I mean, it's a good opportunity for somebody that knows what they're doing. So if you get somebody that comes in blind, no, it's not a good investment for them, and it'll never happen. But if we can get a group in that's rejuvenated, another building, I'd say there's no reason why they couldn't. And look at the people with District 29 up there south of the middle school. I mean, they came into town and built something and didn't ask us for anything. And they've got 93 apartments and 25% of them have already been
You're
rented.
talking about North Junior High now?
No, that's the Fouch brothers. This
Yeah.
is the new one up by south of the middle school. It's going to be open next month. This place, they came in on.
Oh, south of the middle school.
Yeah, south of the middle school. So they're going to have townhouses and everything. So, I mean, there is a need for market rate housing in Fort Dodge. Does it have to be downtown? We would like to get people downtown. That's the key to getting downtown businesses rejuvenated. We're redoing downtown.
I was going to say, we've been talking about this a long
I know.
time.
Well,
Hasn't happened.
You got to have a dream, I guess, but it's tough. And again, right now it's tied up in litigation, and that's going to delay us another period of time. But once that's up, hopefully we can work with our advisors. Hopefully we get better advisors than we've had in the past. But we've run into some real hiccups with this group, and we thought we had everything taken care of, and it backfired. So I'm thinking probably that there's other people out there that are going to be much better for what we need to get done. So again, will it happen? Hopefully. Is it going to happen soon? No. But again, we're all tired of looking at it. Trust me, we walk by it all the time. There's trees growing up on top of it.
Curbs all busted up, everything.
Things got more property violations than any other piece in town, but I think that's something we're going to need to address.
So did the city fine itself for the property violation?
It's not our building. It's KDG.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Do they pay the bill?
Yeah, right. It's taken off their taxes. If we do anything, we'll have to go to court, probably administrative court, and then it'll be assessed to their taxes. They pay about $25,000 a year in taxes on the building. So having another, if we have to fix it, we're going to be in trouble. Because if we have to fix every window on that thing, I mean, bringing it up to historical standards, if that's what's necessary, the city doesn't want to do that. But, to board it up and make it look better, I was hoping for.
What's the estimate on tearing it down?
Well, it kind of varies. I mean, the Wakanza Annex, they're talking $2 million. So I would imagine the warden would be north of that, probably in the 3 to 4 million. But then what are you going to do with it? You're going to have a vacant lot. And we don't need any more parks in town.
Well, we don't need that Hulk anymore either.
Yeah, we need to make it look better. There's a lot of things we can do to polish it. Using that analogy. But if we could make it look better, I think it would make the whole community feel better. But again, it's a big building. It's a pimple on our butt. There's nothing we can do about it. Right at the present time.
I'd feel better if really we had more downtown businesses.
I think everybody would. I mean, Chris Patrick with the Main Street Group has worked really hard. There's a couple hundred businesses downtown. Over 1,000 people come downtown every single day to work, but you don't see them because a lot of them are buried in, the Snell building and things like that. But she has really worked hard.
What are they doing in the Snell building?
Lawyers, those kind of people.
Oh, that's right. I got it confused with the Carver building just for a minute. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, there's all kinds of businesses downtown. A lot of them are in that 1,200 block with the downtown facade program.
Well, that's a professional building, though.
Yep. But again, there's a lot of retailers coming into downtown. A lot of them aren't full time. You don't see them on Saturdays. You don't see them on nights. But again, if we ever get the warden done, then the demand will probably be there to expand our businesses downtown.
The plan some years ago was to make downtown a place for professionals.
Right.
I noticed that you didn't have an office downtown.
I'm close. I'm a block off. But again, that's why we're redoing everything north of downtown. I mean, our goal is someday to develop housing where people can actually walk downtown for entertainment and for leisure, and that's.
Wouldn't it be better to have the entertainment and all those things there first? So potential buyers could look at it and say, well, maybe this is a good idea.
Yep. So that once again, it just takes time and money. And we're just working with the people that own the businesses downtown. We can get them motivated to clean it up, make it look better. Rent is very affordable downtown. And
I bet.
We rented downtown for years and we were paying $400 a month for our building at 919.
What, that bookstore you're talking about?
And that was including the heat. So, I mean, we didn't have very much expense, but.
And the store closed, as I recall. Yeah, unfortunately, because I was 4.5 years you were there?
4.5 years.
I was a regular customer.
Yeah, I lost a little bit of money on that deal.
Hey, but you thought it was a good idea. And I thought it was a crime at the time. I thought it said something bad about our town.
Yeah.
That we couldn't support a bookstore, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, how many used car places do we have? We can't.
Too many. How many dollar stores do we have?
Yeah, there you go.
We don't need any more.
Anyway, Terry Mink has been our guest. Thank you, Terry.
All right. Thank you.
3:00 in the afternoon. This is KBFD Fort Dodge, Iowa, and Greg Hora is next.
Hi, this is Leslie Segretti.
And I'm Tom Kreitler, and you can hear the Money Pit every Saturday afternoon from 4 to 6 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD, Fort Dodge.
A call for expectant mothers to get vaccinated. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News.
gone up, and we are seeing the results of that.
For Rob Jones, I'm Josh Mason, KVFD News.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Highs around 89 this afternoon under sunny skies, northwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows level off around 65. Tonight, mainly clear skies. Mainly sunny skies and calm again. Tomorrow, high temperatures reach up to 88. Dry and turning cooler Friday and Saturday with highs in the low 80s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Right now, 87.
Michael Devine, broadcasting live.
That's right. We're broadcasting live from the Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters studio at 612 South 32nd Street here in Fort Dodge. You may contact Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters by calling 576-6481. Joining us now is the King of Hogs, and that would be Greg Hora, of course. He is the president of the Webster County Pork Producers and past president of the Iowa Pork Producers. How are you, Greg? Always
doing well. Yeah.
Great to have you here as always.
Yeah. Warm temperatures, high humidity, and we have breeze today outside,
A little bit of breeze.
That does help.
Come on, man. That's Iowa. High humidity and high temperatures.
But I want to tell you my attitude, and there's a lot of farmers that have stories going on. What are you doing? Losing your microphone there?
Well, I think so, yeah.
A lot of farmers have missed rains, the last several weeks. I've been one of those in some of my farm ground area, but this last Sunday, east of Fort Dodge, we had, between 0.8 and an inch, which was one of the biggest rain.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. And I think here in town, they said about 0.8, which was good. Southern part of Webster County had 1.5 inches, some areas close to 2. But those of us that have been missing some rains, and with this heat the way it is, when you get close to 1 inch of rain and your soil is now wet, this time of the year when it's hot, it really makes you feel better. So we continue to hear about some crop damage. When these storms come through this time of the year, they become a little bit more violent with the wind. And we did have some crop damage, I know, in the southern part of Webster County, up by Mason City and east of there. I know we've heard of some Marshalltown area. So it does tend to happen that way, but hopefully those that maybe have a little wind damage also got enough rain.
I get the Cedar Rapids Gazette online. I subscribe to about 5 papers online altogether. And Cedar Rapids has been remembering the derecho of last year. And of course, my son Luke, he's been living down there for many years. And man, it was a couple days by the time I got down there. And I've never seen a town tore up like that, really.
Yes.
I was in Algona when the tornado went through there in 79 and Manson as well. That was really bad for towns those size. But Cedar Rapids is a town of 130,000 people.
Yep.
And it just ripped through that town.
Well, I haven't told you this before, but I was in Cedar Rapids that day.
You were, really?
Yes, I was.
Oh, you keeping it a secret?
Yeah, well, not keeping it a secret, just didn't share it.
All right.
But no, we were quickly ushered to the basement of the building we were having a meeting in. And then we started hearing about all of the destruction. And then obviously it was maybe 3:00. I left town that day at Cedar Rapids. The storm hit right at the noon hour. And so, you have your personal reflections. Actually, I have a godchild, young lady now. She's a mother of a couple children there, and she does a lot of Facebook posting. So she obviously is like a lot of people, and I'm speaking of a family member here, that had a lot of destruction in her older part of town where she has a smaller, older house. And and those are the areas that were probably impacted the most because they had the biggest and oldest trees.
Right.
But you being a past trucker, and I know the stories that a lot of people remember of that day 1 year ago yesterday. I drove north out of town up towards Waterloo on 380, and I probably saw 20 to 25 vehicles flipped over on their sides.
That's wild.
Most of those were semis and panel vans and things of that nature. But it was pretty devastating in that area.
I ran down there a couple of times after the derecho. Luke's house Luke had a tree fall in his house, which was never good.
Yes.
And I did notice crop damage for miles and miles and miles, just cornfields flat. I don't mean bent over. I mean, they were flat on.
Yes, they were.
And ruined, just absolutely ruined.
Yeah.
What did they do as a result of?
Well, it's a good question because just today in the Fort Dodge Messenger, you see our Congressman Randy Feenstra still talking about some derecho economic recovery dollars to
Good for him.
farmers.
Good for him.
Because depending on what a farmer had with his crop insurance, there were some companies that said, yes, go ahead and destroy the crop. And mostly that was corn. That was just, yes, it was flat. It was less than 18 inches off the ground. So there were some farmers that took a disc out there, a heavy offset disc, and tore that up in mid to late August after they had their assessments done. We knew from an agronomics perspective, the crop was not going to stand back up. So some farmers, their crop insurance company said, no, we need you to harvest that. And so there were farmers harvesting between 30 and maybe 90 bushels, which at that time they were expecting 180 to 200 bushel corn.
Yeah.
So they were getting, 30 to 40%, maybe 50% of their crop they were actually harvesting. And yes, it caused a lot of equipment problems and damaged. But the one thing, and this is what the Iowa State University people have spoke about from grain quality perspective, and we as farmers worry about grain quality because if a farmer has grain in a bin that you are storing or that you harvested it the fall and it has mycotoxins in it or phytotoxins in it, which is like viruses, bacteria that is in the corn, that the ethanol plants don't want it and livestock feeders don't want it, you have a real problem in getting rid of your grain.
Yeah.
But because the nature of the ground was so dry, yeah, we had rain with a wind event, but the ground was so dry and the corn dried out very quickly last fall that we did not have our grain quality problems. So those that did harvest the grain, they were able to put them through what we call the normal market channels with feed mills or ethanol plants. Very little of that corn in that area actually goes for export because we have enough ethanol plants and livestock needs.
Yeah.
And of course you had less bushels. But the big thing was, and Iowans, people, especially people in this part of the state, know about the grain bins that farmers have to store the crop. Up in this part of the state, we have co-ops that have large crop, corn handling, soybean handling facilities, but a lot of grain bins were destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
And so now insurance companies are working with farmers, and I know farmers specifically that lost a lot of not only the crop, but they lost their grain handling facilities. So anyway, some of those farmers are still dealing with some of the problems from last year with regards to, they had to plant beans and they had a lot of volunteer corn, and some had to plant.
They did.
Yeah, some had to plant corn because they had to fill some corn contracts. And so, but as farmers, we know that those things happen in parts of the country and parts of the corn growing belt every year. So that was a major one though, that occurred from South Dakota, literally from the edge of South Dakota, all the way across Illinois, Indiana, and into Ohio.
I'd never heard of a derecho before, just this last year.
Yes.
I think they're very rare. I don't know how often they occur or where they occur in the world, but they certainly came to our state.
Yeah, it sure did.
Wow.
But anyway.
Had you ever heard of a derecho before
No,
last year?
No. And I can't remember how many years back that had gone, if that had gone back 70 years or whatever that was. But, it was, the weather gurus, they obviously know a lot about how those form and why they cause so much destruction with the path of wind that it does create. So, but anyway, we're off to, here we are, state fair time. State fair is kicking off tomorrow, and crop is, because of these warm temperatures, we're moving that crop along pretty quickly. And the rains that we have had here on Sunday night, most of Webster County had, the northern part had maybe a quarter of an inch. Here in the middle part, we had close to an inch, and southern part and parts south towards Highway 30 had a little bit more as it went east. But we think we now have enough rain to pretty much finish out the crop, and any more rain that we do get will only help add to the size of kernels of grain, corn or soybeans that would be.
All right. Greg Hoare is our guest in this portion of the program. This portion of the program brought to you by the Webster County pork producers. That would be Greg and his group. It's boy, agriculture is interesting, isn't it?
Well, I just was with some Iowa State people on Monday, and I'm in a farm organization called the Iowa Farm Business Association.
Right.
A lot of farmers throughout the state are involved, and of course, here in north central Iowa and central Iowa, we're in what's called the Central Iowa Farm Business. And we had some Iowa State professionals talking to us and giving us the update. And your listeners here quite often on Dwayne Murley and even this KVFD station, you hear some of the ag reports from Iowa State people.
Sure.
And, we continue to look at having some record yields. Tomorrow is the big crop report at the end of the summer, which we call the WASDE report. Dwayne Murley will be reporting on that in this station. I'm sure we'll be carrying some of those.
Yeah.
So it's a World Ag and Stocks report. So talking about what are the grain inventories and expectations around the world. We have the USDA reports that come out during the growing season. So we as farmers know that we could finish out this growing season and maybe get another 5 or 7 bushels of beans and 10 or 15 bushels of corn if we have some more rain. Or if we stay hot and dry and we don't get that, we may lose that 5 to 7 bushels of beans and 10 to 15 bushels of corn. So it's a pivotal time frame here, just like it is with our grain marketing. The trade deals that we in agriculture talk about, and I know you interview our congressional people, our state senators. The trade deals are extremely important to us. That's what I like to talk about here with you and share with your listeners that, as I have shared, the pork exports this past year was all-time records, even though we had some setbacks here the last 3 months that has not been as much as 6 months ago. China is still buying. They're building up their own hog herd, as you've heard me talk about, because of ASF that they had to reduce close to 50% of their hog herd, but they're
African swine.
Yep, the African swine fever that we've talked about, but they're still coming to the U.S. for buying pork and beef. Now, Economic Union in Europe, the European Economic Union, they actually sell more pork into China than the U.S. does. But for the U.S., it's a tremendous amount that we export. It was the largest increase last year ever going into Europe. So corn and soybeans also hit all-time records this past year. And yes, some of this was because of the trade deal that we had with China. We in agriculture, and next time you talk to our congressional people, you need to visit with them and about the Trade Promotion Authority. And that's the trade deals that the Biden administration can renew. They've been reluctant to get the TPA or the Trade Promotion Authority. Well, I think you asked the question of why. Well, I think they have a little different philosophy than what the Trump administration did. The Trump administration obviously wanted to have more deals that were from one country to another, not the multi-country deals. Everybody knows about the USMCA, which was the Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. But the unilateral deals would be the deals that we did with China. And then once the Trans-Pacific Partnership deal fell apart, which was like 11 countries with the U.S., then the U.S. went in under the Trump administration, and we made our own deals with Japan. And that was a big deal to keep Japan, who buys a lot of high-value pork from the United States and a lot of corn from the United States.
I've talked to you before about Berkshire hogs.
Yeah.
Japan used to bring those in all the time. Is
Yeah.
there anybody raising Berks anymore? Or
Yeah, and we have talked about that. I've mentioned about Berkwood Farms, and Berkwood Farms is actually a meat processing and a meat wholesale and retail company based in Ankeny. They work with a lot of pork producers in the state of Iowa that raise Berkshire pigs. And to your listeners out there, Berkshire pigs is a breed of pig that has darker meat, darker red meat. Yeah, and it's got more marbling in it or more fat within the muscle tissue. So it's a genetic thing. All the pork is very nutritious and it's lean, but the Berkshire pigs have a little bit more of that marbling effect. And of course, there's a little bit more higher premium price to it also.
Yeah.
But Berkwood Farms in Ankeny, they ship all around the country. And I do know pork producers that raise Berkshire pigs here in Iowa, and they'll ship live pigs out to the East Coast, the breeding pigs.
Really?
For producers that are out in the upper Northeast states, the 5 or 6 states in the upper Northeast, and they'll raise the pigs out there, and they have the local markets that they sell to, or they'll actually take a load of pigs out there that processing companies will harvest the pigs and process and sell the meat out there. So yeah, it's a diverse industry, and of course, as Iowa pork producers, we believe in any segment of people that want to participate. Small producers, medium producers, and of course the integrators that own the pigs and own the packing plants, which is over about 52% right now of the U.S. pig herd is through integrators that own packing plants and have farmers like me raise the pigs for them here locally, but they have their own harvest facilities and their own market chains.
I've got to get a hold of somebody at Iowa State Communication Department and get some of those folks on the air there. Boy, I'll tell you, when you've taken me along on some of those pork shows, I don't know what they're.
Yeah.
Or I met a lot of people during the Iowa State Fair, and they have such a wonderful wealth of knowledge. And the young people, especially when we went down to that show in Boone a couple of years ago, or 3 years ago, or whatever it was, they had an Iowa State tent set up there. And gosh, those young people, they were also enthusiastic about their business and
you bet
ag business that they were in. And gosh, they could see the future all the way.
Well, the big thing there is, and you make reference to the show in Boone, which was the Farm Progress Show.
Farm Progress.
Yep. And this year it's over in Decatur, Illinois. So a year from now, it will be back at the Boone site. But one thing that we've all learned about, especially in the advent of media changes, social media changes, and that is the level and the ability to communicate with your audience is extremely important.
Yes.
And so, yes, Iowa State or community colleges, they put out communication majors, and that's a lot of print, that we're trying to communicate messages. Pork producers, like other commodity organizations in Iowa, we go and interface and meet with bloggers, food bloggers or animal bloggers, rural, not just Iowa, but rural bloggers from throughout the country. And I think we're seeing and hearing more of that now because we have areas of South Dakota, North Dakota that are extremely dry, and they're going to have devastating crop yields. I mean, they're going to be terrible. These crop reports that I referred to a little bit ago, they show those numbers. I won't review those numbers here on the air, but we're also hearing that with our friends out in Oregon, where they've had fires and they've had drought in a lot of areas, and they have lack of hay, lack of grass for their cattle. And it's quite a system that we have where cow-calf producers in the West will raise the cattle and then come back to feed yards in Colorado or the Midwest, or obviously Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, where a lot of cattle are fed. But here in the Midwest, we always think we have an economic advantage because we have a lot of grain. We have cooler temperatures generally than down south, and we have abundance of water.
Sure.
So, we continue to have, as you talk about Iowa State professionals and communications, that's an important part of that. So anyway, those exciting times there. But as a pork producer, I want to let your listeners know too, we did a grilling last night with the back to school bash over at the Fort Dodge Middle School. It was really good. And we go over there and we grill our pork burgers and donate them and participate with the group, and a lot of volunteers. I'll give a shout out to those families and the kids in the Douglas Dreamers 4-H Club. Linda Klein and the 4-H staff there work with young boys and girls that help put together 400 backpacks for kids and families that may not have the financial means or other means to get all those supplies on their own. So
is this part of the Backpack Buddies program?
That's different.
Has?
That's different.
Okay.
You bet. But this back to school bash that these families work with and these kids help out with, that's what I'm giving a shout out to, is those young people that are already, understanding what philanthropy and giving back and service means. And that's an important part of today's culture. And just like tonight, we're going to do another grilling across the street here. In 1 hour, I'll be having pork burgers coming off the grill because I'm only on this segment to your listeners here till the bottom of the hour. And we're going to be working with the our county pork producer group is donating pork burgers and participating with the community health center right across the street here, and the folks over there.
Just south of us here.
Yep, just south of you here. Yep.
Right across.
And I've already got the grill set up there, and I got the meat in the boxes ready to go. We just got to grill it.
Sounds good, man.
But yeah, it's good. But regarding the state fair, I know that you're going to be down there. We're happy to sponsor you for a couple days down there. Iowa Pork Tent will be host area for you. So
should be a big crowd.
Don't spill the tea when you're sitting there.
I won't do it. I've always enjoyed my time down there. It's very informative. It's a learning experience for me every year. And I meet such a bunch of nice people. And I know I mentioned this to you just a couple of years ago, but you had me on with a pork queen one day. And the next day, on the front page of the Des Moines Register, there's this girl dressed in her gown and her crown and everything. And she's helping a sow deliver pigs. I mean, she's got her arm up in the sow. And I thought to myself, this is a farm girl.
Yes, it was.
This is a farm girl.
Yeah, it's a multi-generational farm girl, that pork queen, Gracie Greiner. Her grandmother actually was Sandy Greiner from Kyoto. Sandy's still alive. Make sure I phrase it the right way. And she was a former state senator in Southeast Iowa.
The name did sound a little familiar.
Yep. And so anyway, Gracie's parents are also involved in agriculture and has family involved in agriculture. So